Title reads repeatedly getting friend zoned because of no chemistry. He says, "Hi everyone, I am a 30-year-old male. I'm getting stuck on figuring out the chemistry part of dating. I've been rejected over 500 times in about a decade of trying." So those numbers are pretty crazy. I think a guy at 30, let's say a guy's been in the dating scene for 10 years, he's been rejected 500 times. So it shows he's putting himself out there and he has that confidence to put himself out there. Now, is he referring to 500 times he's been ghosted on these dating apps or something? Then maybe that number isn't as impressive. But I'm reading that as this guy is putting in the effort to try and find a woman, but things just obviously aren't going right. And given that number, something must be seriously wrong. So let's try and find out what he is experiencing here. So he says, "So far, I've never been on a first date." Wow. Straight away when I read that, it kind of reads he maybe isn't attractive. Now, women will say, "Oh, it's not about the looks, it's about the personality and how he makes me feel." Yes, that's valid, but especially in this modern dating marketplace, especially with using the apps, unfortunately, for both guys and women, looks is king. It's the first thing someone sees. Swipe left or swipe right. It's as simple as that. So maybe this guy's not particularly attractive, maybe he's giving off creepy vibes, or maybe his photos just suck and he needs to completely redo his whole dating app because I'm guessing he is on dating apps, right? Women usually reject me, ghost me, turn me down before it happens, and many opt to be just friends. Okay, so if he's getting to the talking phase, if the woman's giving him the big green tick to at least come into her DMs, obviously he's not overly unattractive. Now it's to do with what he's saying. Is he giving them creepy vibes? Is he being a bit fake? Is he saying certain things that women are repulsed by? Or is, well, as I said, many opt to be just friends. Maybe he's just giving the friend vibe and he's just messaging her constantly for weeks or even months and not asking her out on a date. And she's just like, "Oh, another guy doesn't know what he's doing." Because I wonder how many times he's actually asked him to go out on a date. And maybe when he does, it's just too late by that point. I was talking to a 30-year-old female the other week, and she told me, "You're absolutely one of the most genuine men I've ever met and have a lot to offer. Anyone would be lucky to have you." So she's letting you down nice and slowly without trying to hurt your feelings. She's basically just saying, "I just don't find you attractive, and I'd rather us probably just to stop talking altogether. I'm just being nice to you because I don't want you to freak out and do anything weird." She then turned me down on a coffee ice cream day. Again, so how long have you been messaging this girl? Maybe you've been messaging her for weeks or even months, and I asking her out on a coffee or ice cream date. I don't mind the coffee date because it's you don't have to put much effort into it. You can keep it super casual, but it's not very romantic, is it? I like to go for like a drinks date, maybe in like a dimly lit piano bar or something like that. Have a cocktail or two, and then make sure it's in the evening so you can maybe take her back to your apartment afterwards. Coffee, ice cream date, I would say is kind of giving friendship vibe, but I understand why a lot of guys go for a coffee date. She told me that she didn't feel the spark and wanted to stay friends. Well, you can't feel the spark over texting. You can only feel the spark if you meet the person in person. And she hasn't given you the opportunity to see if the spark's there, but obviously I feel like you just spoken your way out of her liking you. And I'm already telling from your post here, you've probably just been messaging her back and forth for way too long. Other women have told me that if a girl doesn't feel something flipping in her stomach when she talks to you, she won't date you. But again, a woman's not going to feel that if you're just texting back and forth. Now, she might feel that way if she looks at a very attractive man's profile picture, but that attractive man is going to ask her out on a date or ask her back to her place very quickly, not like some nice guy who's going to talk to her back and forth for a number of weeks. Says any advice would help. I don't know how chemistry happens. Well, chemistry happens in person. And I feel like you're not doing this in person. Now, let's just give this guy the benefit of the doubt. Let's say the 500 times he's been rejected, half of those have been in person. I'll give him that. If that is the case, then I feel like on the date, you're not pushing it towards something physical. Maybe you are giving the friendship vibe. Maybe you're going for the hug at the end of the date instead of the kiss. Maybe you are just going on these ice cream dates and then not leading it to anything else. Maybe you're not going on multiple dates on the same day to keep things interesting. Maybe you just look a bit rough. Maybe you have BO. Maybe you're a bit overweight and you need to work on your physical appearance. Maybe buy some new clothes, hit the gym. And you said you've been rejected 500 times, but I'm gonna say I still think it's a game of numbers. And if you're approaching women in person with some confidence, with a fuck you attitude, I'm sure you can turn a lot of those rejections into more positive outcomes because it is a game of numbers. And one woman is going to be attracted to you if you play your cards right because these apps are absolutely killer and you're going to be rejected more times than not. So you've got to have a thick skin. You're 30, you're still young, you're getting into your arguably prime. So hopefully you have a good job and you have a good 401k and you've been saving a lot of money and your time will come. But yeah, you maybe got to have a bit of a fuck you attitude and stop trying to be such a nice guy. Anyway, that's all, guys. Cheers. See ya.